Well, it's no secret that Indiana basketball is pursuing some of the best point guards in high school basketball, but I think Darren DeVries may have just found his point guard of the future.
You are Locked On Hoosiers, your daily podcast on the Indiana Hoosiers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome, and it is the Locked On Hoosiers podcast. I'm your man, Jacob Goins. I appreciate you being here, making this your first listen or your first watch every single day. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which is your team every day. Thank you so much for all of my everydayers out there, and to those of you who are back for the second time today. That's right, we got a little bonus content coming your way. If you missed our episode earlier this morning, we're talking all things Indiana football versus Illinois, so be sure you go and check that out. But this bonus episode is about basketball. And look, we know that Darren DeVries and his entire staff at Indiana have hit the ground running hard in high school basketball recruiting since day one that they were hired to be at Indiana. And they've been going after all of the biggest names in the class of 2026, going after point guards and shooting guards and forwards and some of the best centers in all of high school basketball as well. We've talked about a lot of the guys that have already been here on visits and the ones that are upcoming, including this upcoming weekend. But Indiana and Darren DeVries may have just found their point guard of the future, and it's four-star point guard Anthony Brown. He's out of the Washington D.C. area. He's a four-star pretty much wherever you look. Ranked 70th in the country overall, according to 247. He's a top 10 point guard, ranked 8th in that spot, and the number one player in Washington, D.C. The four-star Anthony Brown, 6'1", 160 pounds. And don't get hung up on the size. We're going to talk about that in just a moment. But I think this kid is really, really good. He is as raw as they come, okay? 6'1", 160. I know the size isn't crazy. There's not a whole lot of beef here, but he's a really, really good scorer. And you hear this you hear that they can score at all three levels so often nowadays. But Anthony Brown really does fit that narrative. He really does fit the descriptor that he can score at all three levels. That's at the rim, mid-range in the paint or just outside, and from the three-point arc. He's got a beautiful touch by the rim. He can lay it in. He's got floaters. He can do a little hezzy, go one way and reverse on the other. He'll float it in the lane from around the free throw line or that high volleyball line. He'll pull up and bank at a jump shot like retro Derrick Rose will, or like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who is winning MVPs and NBA titles in Oklahoma City. That's what this kid has in his bag of tricks. And he'll also let it fly from deep. And that's off of high pick and rolls, in transition, or just a little one-on-one ISO. He doesn't care. Get out of the way, and I'm going to get a bucket here. That's what Anthony Brown's able to do. And I think he's got a really good shooting stroke. A little slow getting up to the chest, and then boom, it's gone. And it looks really, really good. But yeah, the size could be an issue here, maybe long-term or maybe even just short-term until he figures a way around it. But he's as raw as they come. And what I mean by that is when you watch him play, he plays like a high school kid. He's been playing on the EYBL circuit. He's playing for Team Durant, so you know he's legit. But he plays like a high school basketball player. He just gets in the lane and figures it out, whether he dishes it out to a teammate, which he's really good at doing, whether he throws a teardrop floater over somebody that maybe doesn't know it's coming, or just a step in three in transition. He just kind of figures it out as he goes. And while that probably works in his high school games on Friday nights or in some of these travel ball tournaments and AAU stuff, he's going to have to adjust to that at the next level, but he can absolutely do that at Indiana. And we told you that he was offered by Indiana, about a week or so ago? Well, he's already got an official visit scheduled. He's supposed to be coming to see Indiana around September 24th. That's about a week or so from when this episode drops, whether you're listening on audio or watching on video. That's the date that they think that this is going to happen, somewhere around there, right? So he was offered, and now he's coming for an official visit. Folks, we told you this was not a coincidence. This was not Indiana just discovering this guy. They're not shuffling the papers saying, oh my God, how did we miss this kid? How did we miss this 4-star out of DC? No, that's not what happened here. The timing on this tells, I think, just about the entire story here. It's no secret that Indiana has been pursuing some of the best point guards in the country. Taylon Kinney Jr., Deron Rippey, right? You've been going after some of these dudes who are top 10, top 15, top 20 overall in the class of 2026. And heck, you're already going after some in the class of 2027. But it's also not a secret if you are in or around or listen to any of the recruiting circles, including ourselves, Indiana's out on Deron Rippey. As much as we hate to say it, it's true. His list has been cut and Indiana wasn't on it. Tay Kinney, Indiana's not there either. We were in on both of those, but Indiana just got cut out down the stretch. And that's just how it goes. Indiana was waiting to see how those went before you reach out to somebody like Anthony Brown, who's got some good lineups, who's got some good places, right? Texas Tech is in there. Oklahoma State, believe Vanderbilt is on that list as well. So he's got P4 offers and he's got P4 visits lined up. Ain't nobody holding a candle to what Indiana's going to be able to offer this kid in terms of experience, coaching, playing time, and yeah, a little bit of cha-ching as well. Indiana is the biggest offer and the biggest opportunity that Anthony Brown has. I wouldn't be surprised if you get a commitment out of this kid before he leaves campus. I think that's how good he is. I think that's how much Indiana wants him and probably how much Indiana needs him. And he could be the point guard of the future for Darren DeVries and Indiana basketball. Again, Anthony Brown from the Washington, D.C. area. He's got an Indiana offer. He's coming for a visit this time next week, and he absolutely could be the next commit in the class of 2026 for Darren DeVries and the Indiana Hoosiers. I want to take a look at that really quickly when we come back because Indiana has one, but what would another one or two do? We talk about that coming up next right here on this bonus episode of Locked On Hoosiers. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by Mazda. You can just move through life or you can find the things that move you. It's really your choice. You can choose to get out there, choose your people. You can choose to go for it. Like, really go for it. Just choose to do something that moves you. Mazda crafts cars for those who choose to do more than simply move. Mazda, move and be moved. This bonus episode of Locked On Hoosiers brought to you by DoorDash. It's almost the weekend. We're getting there, right? Hump day if you're watching this or listening on the day that it comes out. So, hey, it's time to look back and crown this week's MVP on Who Delivered, powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash Streaks, saving more every time you order. These players delivered when it matters most. Let's break it down. It's Fernando Mendoza. Our guy came in 5 passing touchdowns. Would love to see a repeat of that or anything close to it this weekend against Illinois. Passing game seems to be working well. If the run game can continue to play well, Indiana's going to have a good chance this weekend against the Fighting Illini. So just like Fernando Mendoza delivered for Indiana, DoorDash delivers your Saturdays. With DoorDash Streaks, you save every Saturday you order, stack it up all season long, and you could save up to $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday, keep the streak alive, fuel your game day, only with DoorDash. Terms apply, promo period through November 18th. And today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers brought to you by Monarch Money. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks or properties or your investments. And when you don't have a full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's where Monarch Money comes in. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or on your phone. Monarch is built for people with busy lives. If you've put off organizing your finances, Monarch is for you. Monarch does the heavy lifting that you simply don't want to do, or maybe you don't know how to do it. That's why they're here. You can link all of your accounts in just minutes. Plus, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with the code LOCKEDONCollege. All right, welcome back into this bonus episode of Locked On Hoosiers. Again, we appreciate you being here. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel if you have not already. You like this video and you drop your thoughts on Indiana basketball recruiting below. Are you excited about where it's headed? Are you upset that there haven't been more commits so far in the class of 2026? Let me know in the YouTube comments, or you can reach out to us at Locked On Hoosiers on X. And for those of you listening on audio, appreciate you being there, and subscribe if it's a thing. Follow us if possible. Turn on those notifications so you never miss a new episode of Locked On Hoosiers, including these bonus episodes, because those of you that got notified, that's why you're here. So thank you so much for doing that. And as we wrap up this show, I just wanted to quickly take a look at where Indiana stands in the 2026 recruiting class. You're 43rd. Right now in basketball recruiting for 2026. And I know that doesn't sound good. 43rd, according to 247. Ooh, that's not where you want to be, right? I understand, but don't flip out. Indiana is one of about 50 different big name schools that only have one verbal commit for the class of 2026. And remember, that's Prince Alexander Moody, ranked around 125, depending on where you look. And they keep updating and doing different things. Most of these schools have one or two verbal commits. Georgia Tech has 3, Florida State has 4, and I don't see anybody else getting anywhere close to that. Teams like Michigan State has 1. Baylor has 1. Okay. Oregon has 1. Wisconsin has 2. Like, it's okay. Marquette has 2, but they're still below you. Like, the rankings right now are so out of whack because so many kids in the class of 2026 have yet to commit. They've yet to make their decision. And it's funny that we're talking about all of this right now because, man, we're on the verge of this popping off and going absolutely crazy. And not just for Indiana, but for college basketball as a whole and the entire 2026 recruiting class at high school. Like, it's about to go insane. And I think Indiana is going to be on the good end of this. I think you're going to get a big man. I think you're going to get a forward. I think you're going to get a guard, possibly even 2, because I think Indiana's in a really good spot with a couple of big name centers. I think you're in a really good spot with a kid from overseas. I think you're in a really good spot for Anthony Thompson, the forward, who you were back seeing yesterday was Indiana after his official visit. Top 10 player in the country, by the way, who was on campus this past weekend. Heard really good things about Junior County, the second-ranked shooting guard in the country, and now with Anthony Brown, one of the best point guards in high school basketball as well. Indiana's doing the right things in recruiting. They are doing more than they have ever done as a staff, it seems like, at least in Indiana, right? This staff seems to be doing more than others have done. I guess that's the better way to say that. They're constantly calling. They're constantly visiting. They're constantly getting visitors on campus. Folks, it's going to pay off. I truly believe it. It's one of the things I believe the most in this world. Hard work pays off. And that is going to be true for Indiana basketball recruiting. You mark my words, you believe me, you trust me. Indiana's going to land some big name players. I don't know which ones, and we're still trying to wait and see and figure it all out. But Indiana will have a big recruiting class in 2026, and that will elevate what you're able to do moving forward after what's hopefully a really fun year on the floor in 25 and 26. So just be patient. It's going to get there. And I'm telling you, the next several weeks, the next month to month and a half could be really, really big for Indiana basketball recruiting. All right, that's going to do it for this bonus episode of Locked On Hoosiers. Again, if you missed our previous episode this morning, it's talking more football. It's Indiana and Illinois. We sit down with our friend Spencer McLaughlin of Locked On College Football and our friend Sonny of Locked On Illini. We start talking about that. We have some fun heated kind of debate talking the Hoosiers and the Illini. So be sure you go and check that out. And coming up on tomorrow's show on the channel, we're talking with our friend Zach Sako of Locked On Nittany Lions for our weekly Big Ten crossover episode. So you don't want to miss that as well. Okay. So we are back tomorrow for that episode and more content as the week goes on, Hoosier fans. So until then, stay safe and I'll talk to you later.